It's the Fellowship of the Geek Show, a weekly podcast about comics, the comic book industry, and other geek pop culture. Music courtesy of Manny the Martyr. And now, on with the show!
Hey there, everybody. It's the Fellowship of the Geeks podcast. My name's Thomas Chick, and joining me for this episode is Mike Marlowe.
Hey, gang.
Les Webster.
Hello, all.
And Liz Newman.
Hello, everybody.
How are you guys doing?
Doing well.
Lost.
We're being honest about it. Okay, that's a new one.
I'm being honest.
Why start now? But
That's what I'm thinking. Good.
Hope everybody out there is doing okay. So what's been going on in your corner of the galaxy?
Oh, man. I'm still in the process of spring cleaning. God, you live in a place for over 30 years, and it's like, Jesus, where do you put everything? But, yeah, so not super, super exciting. But I did watch a few shows while I was cleaning. I didn't know that Grey's Anatomy came back on. Yay!
You said something about it a couple of weeks ago.
Did I? I was sitting there.
Maybe last week.
I forgot what night it comes on, and I saw it on TV, and it was like, wait a minute,
Yeah.
I haven't seen this one yet, and I've seen Grey's Anatomy like 5 or 6 times,
Yeah, I think you in passing said something about Grey's Anatomy. It was spring, Grey's Anatomy's coming back, or something like that.
Yeah.
Apparently you weren't thinking about it when you said it, but that's all right.
Probably not. Yeah, so I thought that was pretty cool. So I kind of caught up on that because actually there's 3 episodes out since they've come back. So it's like, damn, So that would make sense that I mentioned it a couple of weeks ago.
It would. So I was thinking.
And then I've also been watching that White Lotus, which took a really, really strange turn. If anybody's watching it, this is the last half of 5 and 6. I'm usually not one that shies away from a movie that has nudity or sex or gore. I don't really care. You've seen one pair of boobs, you've seen them all, But this one actually kind of made me squirm in my seat because it was kind of one of those, ooh. No, don't do that.
Wow.
But it's pretty cool though because there's not a lot of people who tap on that nerve nowadays, that make you uncomfortable while entertaining you. But I almost said Patrick Swayze's son. It's not Patrick Swayze. His name's Patrick, I think. It's Arnold Schwarzenegger's son is in it. And it's weird. But
Something icked Liz out. That's impressive.
It was pretty ick. And I'll just small little spoiler. It was his brother. That's the whole dude ick. But yeah. But one good thing in there is Walter Goggins is in this season. And I didn't think I knew too much about him until I watched Fallout. And when I watched Fallout, it was like, why does he look familiar? And then you get to looking at his movie credits, and it's like, oh, okay. He's that guy that plays in almost everything, but you hardly know his name because it's not a main part, I guess. Or I do think he was on The Shield. That was probably more, made his name for him or whatever. But like I said, I remember him on Fallout, and he was really good. He's really good in this. And then there was something here recently he did too that was, he's in Invincible. he's Cecil, the like NASA guy. So not NASA, our military, Pentagon. He's like the Pentagon guy. So, but yeah, pretty. Like I said, it's pretty intense. We're getting to the end of the season, which means now we're about to find out who's going to die and why, and I'm still. They haven't really pointed at one circumstance that could lead to a death. I mean, I guess now they have, because people have started getting comfortable and they're cheating and lying, and one guy's there because he's fucked his company up, so he's thinking about killing his whole family. So there's a few things, but nothing that really kind of stands out, So I'm excited. There's only 2 more episodes. So if you're waiting to binge it, just 2 more episodes to go.
Almost there.
Yeah, almost. But I have known that season 3 was ongoing, I don't think I would have started it. I would have waited at least till it's to this point, and now I would have started watching it. But not bad. I don't watch too many shows in real time. I guess that's what you call it, as it premieres, So, but other than that, I have not done a whole lot. Like I said, I'm still just trying to find a place for everything and make my allergies go away.
Well, I'm sure stirring up all the dust in your house is helping that greatly too.
I mean, we've had a couple of dust storms, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the day that this happens, it's usually beautiful. And my darling husband doesn't think, but he'll open the doors and the windows, and it's like, oh my God. So it's like a fine coat of dust is everywhere. It's like, this is why we're coughing and sneezing.
Mm-hmm.
Let's not open the windows during a dust storm anymore, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm cleaning some of that up too.
Right. If you're lucky, it's all dust. This
Yeah.
time of year, it's probably not all dust.
No.
Right.
If you find
And then I have dogs, so
they're
right
allergic
now.
too?
Well, no, but we're going from winter to spring, and they're losing that winter coat.
Oh, right,
so it
right.
seems like every day I'm sweeping up a small dog. Which I don't understand, because they're not fuzzy dogs. So I
Right.
sympathize with anyone who has a fuzzy dog.
That's crazy. That's what that is, especially in this area.
Yeah. Whew. Well, we used to have a husky. No, it wasn't a husky. It was a chow chow. And you would brush him out in the backyard, and it would look like it was snowing fuzz.
Like a dog exploded.
Yeah. And it seemed like after you were done, here's this big old pile of hair, and he looks no different than when you started.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, where the hell does it come from, dog? But yeah, he didn't mind being outside if you kept him brushed out with the proper coats and that kind of thing,
Mm.
Loved the cold.
Right.
And you have those neighbors. If it's cold outside, it's cold for them too. And it's like, you make this dog come inside. I have tried. I had pushed, and
Yeah, you don't understand, lady. This dog is a quilt.
Yeah, he's made for this.
Right. Literally made for this.
Yeah. But no, that's pretty much all I've been doing. Trying to keep my head down, out of drama.
Yes, yeah, because that always works.
All right, yeah. So far, so good. Fingers crossed. I've been pretty good. Oh, but one other thing I did get to. My brother-in-law came to see me this weekend, and it's been a little bit since I've seen him, which I feel bad in saying that, because we used to see each other like every Friday. And it was just kind of nice to sit down and talk to somebody And it wasn't about drama, because Lord knows me and him could have sat there and we were in it, But we didn't talk about any of that. It was just bullshit. Just things that happened 30 years ago, or,
Right. Bullshit in a good way.
Yeah, it
Good
was just
bullshitting.
bullshit,
Right.
Bullshit, 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 bullshit,
So,
bullshit.
so that was kind of nice, But,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
But no, other than that, I've been kind of keeping to myself, trying to resist the urge of tearing everything up and rearranging,
I don't ever have that
Too
urge.
late.
I really don't.
Yeah.
I don't. I mean, I understand that people do, but I do not. I like shit to stay the same.
See, I don't. I get that nervous energy, and it's like, I've got to do something. And usually my something is get up and move the couch.
Nail all the furniture to the ceiling,
Yeah.
Shit
Take the
like that.
computer apart, put it back together.
Oh, I remember those days.
It's like, man, I just can't do. And I thought, oh, I'll pick up coloring, so I'll quit doing things like this, because I don't know. I don't know how many people have experienced ADD, but it's not as simple as go do the dishes. You get in there and it's like, oh, I have to unload the dishwasher before I can do the dishes. But to unload the dishwasher, I've got to clean this off. And to do this, I've got to do this. To where by the time you're done, you have created about 20 tasks for yourself and you haven't even started the dishes yet, So a lot of this, I'll get into moving everything, and then I'll get halfway in it and get overwhelmed and quit.
That's the trick.
Something that should have taken maybe an hour is now going to take me all
Right.
day long,
You've
because
sunk 4 hours into it and you're only half done, and you're like, screw it, I'm out
because
of
I
here.
have all these side quests that I have
Right.
to do.
You gotta figure out when they're optional and when they're not. That's the trick. And it's not always easy to tell in real life because they're not labeled.
Mm-mm.
It sucks.
They're not.
Games are better. The optionals are labeled.
You have a neurotypical husband who's like, well, I thought you were going to go in there and do this. And it's like, yeah, but I had blah, 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 blah. And he's like, Jesus Christ. So I wish it was that easy of, I'm just going to go do the dishes.
The word crazy gets thrown around a lot in those conversations.
Right. But he's starting to understand better,
Well, at least tolerate, which is nice.
Yeah, I've got a process. Don't mess with me while I'm in the process. Just leave me alone. Which he's learned how to do very well.
Right. He doesn't need to mess with your process. You'll screw it up all by yourself, right?
Oh, yeah. I don't need help on that. Especially when I got dogs and a grandbaby to help me with that.
Mm-hmm. Distractions aplenty.
Yeah. See, and that's the thing, is rearranging everything around a 6-year-old.
Right.
So as soon as you find a place for something, she comes back with it.
The trick is not being able to remember where that place was.
Oh, right. Well, usually you have forgotten by then.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I am not ADD, but I have, for some reason, I have always had bunches of ADD people around me. So I hear you. I see all of these things. I have seen all these things in my day. Somebody else doing them, luckily.
Yeah.
But
And it sucks. Once you get into it, you're zoned. You're good.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that getting into it with all of the extra. Oh, you've got to do this and take this and do.
Right. The problem is that the brain never stops.
Yeah. Because even while it's shooting off all of that, in a background, it's.
Yeah.
It's hard.
It's not easy.
It's not.
Being green?
That too.
And sometimes it drives you crazy because people are like, oh, well, she didn't do that because she's lazy. No, look at the other 50 things I did that I just didn't. I ran out of hours in a day to get that one thing done, you know.
Right. And some people, especially, like you said, what was the term you used?
Neurotypical. Yeah.
They don't get it. They don't understand that the deal is, it's not a point A to point B.
Yeah.
For them, it's a point. They look at it. They go, I need to take this and put it there, and that's it. And that is not how your brain works. And it's that simple. I mean, point A to point B turns into point J really fast, like before you even pick up point A.
Or sometimes they still have all those steps, but their mind doesn't process that they're doing all of those extra steps.
Right. There's stuff in the middle that
they just get in there and they do it. You know,
right.
And it's like, wow.
How do you not distract yourself with that? Right. That would be great, but yeah, it's not. It's just not. And a lot, like I said, a lot of the normies just don't get it.
Mm-mm. But I found systems now that help me stay on top of things. You know.
Mm-hmm. You have to.
Yeah.
That was one of the things because my wife went through. She actually put herself into testing herself essentially for ADD, and that was one of the things they went through, and they were asking her questions. So how do you do this, and how do you do this, and how do you do this? And she's like, well, I just made myself learn how to do it that way.
Yeah.
And so the deal is, what she's done is she's kind of hidden it even from herself for most of her life, just out of finding coping mechanisms.
Yep.
She's got coping mechanisms for everything. And I mean, the doctor she went to was amazed at how much of that she had done to herself.
Yep. And you have to. You know, as a mom, I had to learn how to get my kids to school on time, get them dressed, you know, get myself to work. I mean, there were so many things that if I fell into before I get him up, I'm going to have to get it, you know, I wouldn't have got them off in time.
It wouldn't have happened.
You know.
Right.
So it was things like, well, lay their clothes out ahead of time. That way you're not thinking about it in the morning, and, you know.
I still do that to myself, but there are other reasons for that.
Yeah. It's me. I just put on what I find.
That's
that
not
one
unusual.
Thing I don't put a lot of thought into because it's like, no.
Because you can overthink it, and then it runs you up a wall.
Quickly.
Trying to stop using the word crazy in this conversation.
Yeah. Well, for Christmas, I got 2 new shirts, and they're kind of basically the same because they're the horror guys and it says friends, but one shirt had different characters than the other one did, which was cool. But packing for vacation, another thing, I couldn't overthink it, or, you know, I'm going to take the fucking dresser with me. So I just grabbed these T-shirts, and I noticed the day that, you know, one of the days that I was there, that I was wearing the same shirt. It wasn't the same shirt, and nobody really, you know, someone did say something. It's like, oh, that's different people. And I think that's what triggered me on it, because then it was like, people are going to think that I'm wearing the same clothes, that I didn't change my clothes. So, yeah.
And that's how the overthinking works.
And, yeah. So it's crazy, but yeah. I wish my brain just, you know, went normal.
Yeah, but then you wouldn't be you.
Yeah. But
and
I
there are
think
probably days when you wish you weren't you, but we all have those. Even the normies have those. I mean, come on.
But I've noticed with my art and stuff, I'll have to put it down and move to something else. If not, I will sit there and overshade or you know, totally overthink the whole page, you know.
Yep.
So even in my downtime stuff, I have to find ways to cope with downtime.
Yep. Because downtime is not a brain that you're a brain that you're concepting. It's not a concept that your brain handles normally.
Not normal.
All. Right.
I saw the thing on Facebook where the husband was laughing because he was like, she thinks it's crazy that I don't think about anything when I go to sleep. So I asked Phil, I said, what do you think about when you go to sleep? And he's like, nothing. What? How do you do that?
Oh, I'm what you'd call a normie, and I can't do that. My brain's going constantly.
Yeah, I'm right. That's me. It's like I'm firing all the time.
Uh-huh.
Even when I lay down, it's like maybe unicorns were just, their hoods grew out of their head. It's a deformity, and we thought they were magical. But
Right. Why does this
yeah.
Teflon stick to the pan?
Yeah, Yeah. Totally
Thank
can't
you,
do that.
Gallagher. If it wasn't for that horse.
Yeah, so hopefully next week I'll have all this done.
If not, maybe we have another 20-minute rant on ADHD. Who knows?
Right.
Anything's possible.
Well, I just can't
It's
focus
all
for a
right.
minute.
It's okay. It's good. I have resisted for years the urge to call this the therapy section of the show, but that's all right.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times...
Then y'all had me join.
We didn't do this part before you joined. There was a time, this is talk about laughable, this is laughable. There was a time when I never imagined that we'd ever record an episode that was more than 30 minutes long.
And now y'all can't get me to shut up another 30 minutes.
Yeah, now you do 30 minutes without taking a breath at the beginning of every show. Actually, that's not true. It's not every show. There's a lot of shows, but it's not every show.
I think what makes it bad for me is I don't talk to a lot of people. I don't people well.
Right.
So you guys are like my people. I forget we're recording sometimes. I'm just talking.
Yeah, we're like people. We're not actual people.
Right.
We're just the voices in our head,
Yeah. Real ones I can point out and identify.
Yeah, I can identify the ones in my head too, but anyway.
Yeah, when he told me his name was Enoch, I tuned him out.
Oh, good. That's never a good sign. If you're getting names from the Old Testament, that's probably bad.
Right. Childhood coming back to haunt me,
Mm-hmm. Well, all right.
Follow that.
Oh,
Hey.
God. Hell, are you kidding? I was
Here, I'll
shoveling
give you
coal
the
into that one. Show must go on. Anyway, so I, weirdly, without the spring cleaning part, my week this week wasn't that different from Liz's, but so
You're watching White Lotus too?
I'm not watching. No, but I did spend a couple of days BSing with some family members, but no big deal.
That's always a good recharge.
Oh.
Drains you, but recharges you in another way.
Yeah, the deal is it was good. It was a good thing. I mean, not all of the topics of conversation were happy, but that's part of the deal. That's part of what happens. It's okay. You're sort of dealing with it. Dealing with stuff, and that's good. But so I'm actually going to dip back a couple of weeks to a movie I watched a couple of weeks ago. It was one I had not seen. It's a movie that I've heard of forever and had not gotten around to seeing until recently. And that movie is The Quatermass Experiment.
Ah, yes.
This is from 1955. It is, interestingly, like the first Hammer horror film to get any recognition. So it's sort of the beginning of an era in that regard. And it's actually a remake of some other stuff, but there was a TV miniseries on the BBC a couple of years before that. But so it is the story of essentially a fail. Well, I guess technically it's not too spoilery to call it a failed space mission. It's a rocket, a scientist, this Quatermass guy launched a rocket into space with 3 astronauts in it. And the start of the movie is it crashing in a British a field out in the sticks. And when they get it open, there's only one guy inside, and he's not well. So the story is them essentially trying to figure out what this surviving astronaut is turning into. This is if I didn't mention, this is a horror film, boys and girls. I mean, it's 1955. It's not super terrible, but there's some fun effects. Though the thing at the end is not as scary as I would have hoped, but it's still a thing and not a person anymore. But so this is the movie spends like 80 minutes kind of going through, and the Quatermass and a couple of other people are trying to figure out what's going on, and they had the thing locked up, and then it escapes, and how it escapes is just absolutely grade A stupid, but that's okay. Stupid on the part of the characters, not on the part of the writing. The writing's actually pretty good. And I was pleasantly surprised at how good this was. I was a little worried because you never know with some of the really early... I mean, sci-fi is iffy sometimes this early on as it is. The fact that it's coupled with horror, I was worried. I was a little worried. But it turned out good. And if you're looking for it, it's possible that you will find it with the title The Quatermass Experiment. But experiment doesn't have the E at the beginning. And there's a reason for this. So the word experiment starts with an X. This was an intentional marketing ploy because this was, I think, to the surprise of the filmmakers, apparently the British Film Board had an X rating at the time, which was, I believe, what I remember reading was it was no one under 16 admitted. So not too unlike the American X rating that came a little later. Although I think honestly the Brits were a little more sticky about it. I don't think this was really that bad. There's some interesting stuff. There's, like I said, some of the effects are pretty wild for the time. But so basically the deal was they decided when they were marketing this movie to play that up. So they ran with it and they dropped the E off of experiment and stuff. It was actually released in the U.S. under the title The Creeping Unknown. But, yeah, it's pretty fun. And it's been long enough that I think it was on Tubi, but I'm not 100% sure. I would have to look again, and I forgot to do that.
I think it is.
I need to see if the other two are, because there were 2 sequels to this.
If I remember correctly, one of them is on Roku or Tubi.
I think Quatermass 2. I think I've seen Quatermass 2 on there, and I can't remember the name of the third one. It's not Quatermass 3. It's something else.
Yeah.
I need to check those out too, because this was definitely worth checking into a sequel for. It's fun.
Sounds like it.
Yeah.
Okay. Les?
This week I found movies on YouTube to watch, and a lot of them are without ads, which makes me real happy.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So everything just flows, and I've been watching mysteries and comedies, things like that. So if you get the chance, go to YouTube and just find something. If you find one, then dozens will pop up after you watch that. It'll take the algorithm of your want and start giving those to you.
Cool.
But other than that, we had some guests in this week and showed them around town for a couple of days. But that was about it.
You gotta be careful though, because just last night I found a channel that says it was showing it had Rio Bravo. I was like, oh, okay, I hadn't watched that in a while. Let's watch this. Knew something was up because it started with the 20th Century Fox fanfare.
Okay.
Rio Bravo is a Warner Brothers film.
Yeah.
So was this the Turkish Rio Bravo?
Oh, God. We can only
Close. I started recognizing the music in the narration of all this, and I was going, this is freaking Valentine's Day Massacre. The Roger
Well,
Corman
those
film.
always get
Get
mixed.
confused, right? Absolutely.
I was like, what the hell?
That's funny.
Jensen do one of those? Is it
What?
Valentine's?
That's
My Bloody Valentine or something like
that's
that?
my
Yeah, I think that's, My Bloody Valentine.
no. The massacre is about the account of the what was it about a dozen men that were shot in a garage
Like
in Chicago.
1929
Oh, that's
or
right.
something? Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a good movie.
It's not a Western.
It's not a Western.
It's not a Western.
Sure as hell not Rio Bravo.
Right. There's no Dean Martin or John Wayne or Walter Pigeon or Ricky Nelson or Angie Dickinson. Oh, what's Angie? No, I don't think Angie Dickinson was in Massacre. Anyway, but yeah, I was just like, what the hell? I was like, because the thumbnail showed Rio Bravo. I mean, and the letters, and it's Wayne and Dean. I was like, what the fuck? Anyway, so.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff on YouTube, and some of it is legit and some of it is not.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what the thinking was there, but anyway. Yeah, I mean, I spent a lot of time on YouTube. I gotta tell you this one. I just okay. Cops go to a gated community. They've been called out there by the tow truck driver, who was at a residence towing a car, repoing a car. Well, apparently the husband didn't like that this was happening, so he decided to come out with a gun. So the tow driver takes off. He barely got, I mean, he didn't have the car completely tied up, but enough to where he can drag it. So he took off. The husband grabs the wife. The wife starts driving, and the husband gets into the passenger seat, continues to fire the gun at the tow truck, hoping that somehow it was going to drop the car and they would just take it back. Not really thinking things through. as the tow truck has a camera, so all that was recorded. And it's gated communities, so there's a little with a security guard, that type of thing. Well, there's cameras all there too, so all that's recorded. And so both of them got arrested. Obviously, I love the wife. The wife's like, I should probably shouldn't say anything before talking to a lawyer, and then proceeds to just tell her everything. Like, okay, that's smart. Didn't tell you the vehicles. They chased the tow truck in a Mercedes SUV. The car that was being towed was a Maserati that they still owed $7,000 on.
So a couple of payments then.
But the thing I just roared about. Every once in a while, I'll just go down and start kind of looking at the comments and see what people's thoughts are. Well, I hit one comment, and the guy says, well, my Maserati goes 185. I lost my driver's license. Now I can't drive. And then that was followed by everybody say he's cool. And then that was followed by, what was it? What was it? I'm looking for clues at the scene of the crime. I'm like, oh God, I love these guys. I love these people. And for those who don't get
life's been good to me so
Life's
far.
Been Good by Joe Walsh. Yes.
Uh-huh.
The lyrics to Joe Walsh. I mean,
that's awesome.
That's very awesome. That stuff's so great after seeing such stupidity. So,
Wow.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's kind of like the thing I posted on Discord. The woman that tweeted, I think it was a tweet. So you're a feminist? Name every woman. And the guy responded saying Whitney Houston. I'm like, oh God. The sad thing is I had that fucking song in my head.
Oh yeah.
All the time now.
Yep.
It's not a bad song, but you don't want it in your head 24/7.
Yeah, it needs to get out sometimes.
Especially when the only part that I can remember is I'm every woman.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then that just on a loop.
Yep. So, and thank you for reminding me, Liz. That's
right. You're welcome.
And now it's back. Right.
Which I have returned. Well, on that note, let's take a quick break and we'll get into this week's discussion. Welcome back. For this week, it is casting call time again.
Yeah.
Yay! Yay! For
sound enthusiastic there.
Wow. No shit.
And late to the party.
For those who your first time checking us out, what we do about every other month, I will come up with a scenario. A lot of it has been comic book tied. Whether we're doing we've done a live action movie, or we've done a TV series, we've done an animated, we even did a radio show for Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So basically, just come up with kind of a concept for like some kind of project, and set it for a particular year, and come up with a cast of characters, and then we cast it for that said project. And for this time, we are doing a 1978 TV series for The Shadow. The Shadow.
Woo.
The Shadow knows.
The Shadow does know.
Alrighty, so who would like to go first?
I can start us out. I'll be honest in saying I haven't read a lot of The Shadow. I did, I think, when, is it Dynamite that was doing a series with him, and
Yeah.
was it Green Hornet?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So I kind of read it that way. So I may be a little off in my casting here. And then didn't we also watch a movie and talk about it on here?
The Alec Baldwin movie.
Yeah. The one where he got his cape from the trash can. It was complete. But
I think that was Darkman, but still.
was it Darkman? Okay.
Yeah.
So see,
If we haven't watched The Shadow for this show, we have at least talked about it quite a bit.
yeah.
Pretty sure we did watch it, but yeah.
I think we did. I said I may be confused on the trash can part. But yeah.
Some of us watched it.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I'm kind of, yeah, I'm a little out of the loop on this one.
That's
Okay.
all right. That'll just make your picks more interesting.
Now the first character we have is the Shadow, or Lamont Cranston. And
Lamont.
so is that what it is?
Yeah, no, you said it right.
Okay.
You did fine.
How did I mispronounce Lamont?
No.
But my pick was with Christopher Walken. My hardest thing was going back to 78.
Hmm.
But with everything that I've seen him in, and the nose, I thought he would be perfect.
You cast him with just for his nose.
Just for his nose. Well, and his acting abilities.
Well, right, yeah, of course.
I think he's played a little bit of everything in his career.
He has, and yeah, this would have been a good time frame for him for that.
Mm-hmm.
Because I remember seeing him in the Dead Zone. What was that? That was early 80s, right? It was like 82, 83.
Yeah. Something
Yeah.
like that. Yeah.
I think 78 he was doing The Deer Hunter.
I can't say that I've seen The Deer Hunter, but being 7 years old, I was not allowed to watch such things.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't watch it in 78.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, Walken's pretty good. I'll jump in next since that's what usually happens. I got a little creative here. I mean, okay, I got a little creative here, but I did it in an extremely predictable way because that's just me. So I did kind of separate castings in a way for this. So as Lamont Cranston, I cast Robert Urich.
Okay.
Yeah, he was. What was he doing in '70? He was doing something. I can't remember. Well, Spencer wasn't that early. Spencer was a little later. He was in another show.
SWAT.
Maybe. I don't remember. now.
Dun, 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 dun.
So my cheat though is
Vegas.
Vegas. Yeah. Vegas. That's the one. For my cheat, I kind of leaned a little bit on, I mean, to some extent, some of the early stuff, but mostly the movie, the Alec Baldwin movie, with the idea, and this will come up later too with some of my picks, with the idea that illusion is a big part of what goes on in these things, of how he works and how some of the other characters work. And so what I did was I cast a voice for the Shadow specifically.
Okay.
And it's 1978. I had to cast James Earl Jones for this. Also,
That's what popped in my head when you said voice.
also, he's got a fantastic fucking voice. I mean, come on.
Yeah, he does. He does.
So yeah, you get Robert York running around, and when he's in the shadow outfit, you hear James Earl Jones.
Okay.
I like it.
That works for me.
Me too.
Okay.
I went with somebody that was an established TV star, and that is Richard Chamberlain, who played Dr.
Dr.
Kildare.
Kildare.
Kildare. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, he's pretty good too.
Mm-hmm.
Freak people
And
out with this, but he's the original film version of Jason Bourne.
Yes.
I think those were TV movies, but I'm not 100% sure now.
Sounds like they would be.
Yeah, so stick that in your hat, Matt Damon.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, buddy.
I went with someone. At this point, he had not done. He's kind of in the second banana, but I think he would have been a really good lead for this. He would be in his next. He did a lot of TV shows series, but during this time, and I went with James Brolin.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's Barbara, right?
This would have been right after him being on Marcus Welby and hang on.
That's okay.
The next thing would have been the Amityville Horror. But that was the movie. TV wise, we are talking. He did a TV movie in '78. The next TV series would have been Hotel in '83.
See, that series is probably why I tend to think of him as a soap opera guy.
Yeah.
Because that was totally soap opera.
Mm-hmm.
He also played Pee Wee Herman in the movie version of Pee Wee in the
Big Adventure.
Yeah, in Pee Wee's Big Adventure.
Yeah. Because he had the scene with
Morgan Fairchild, I believe.
That's it.
Yep.
But yeah, I can see him doing that. That'd be cool.
Okay.
Okay. Next person that we have is Miss Margot Lane. And with this one, I went with Carol Langley.
Who's she in? The name sounds familiar, but I'm not placing her face.
Yeah.
She did the stuff that I knew her for was like Alfred Hitchcock. She did Night Gallery, Night Stalker.
Okay.
Let me see. I think she did Fantasy Island for 11 episodes. She was Catherine Harris on there.
Oh, wow.
And then what else did she do? I think in '78 they said she was popular for Cat and Canary, but I hadn't seen that one.
What's the last name again?
Lindley, Lynley. Lindley. Did I pick one that finally stumped you guys? I'll post it in
No,
Discord, her
I
IMDb.
misheard you say her name the first time. That's all.
Yeah, I did.
I
did
probably
too.
did.
Yeah. No,
I'm
yeah.
sucking on a
Okay.
piece of lifesaver here.
Well, jeez. Yeah, no.
If not, I'm going to start coughing. So
No, it's fine. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Yeah, she was in the Poseidon Adventure. Yeah.
Bunny Lake is missing. I remember that one for sure.
she's pretty.
Yep.
Absolutely. Yeah.
What was early in her career? Wasn't she known for something like Candy? She wasn't in Candy, but she did one.
Oh shit. She was in Beware the Blob.
Yay! Good girl.
Oh my
She
goodness.
just-
Return to
She
Peyton
just-
Place, Last Sunset, Pleasure Seekers, Bunny Lake is missing, Harlow. She played Jean Harlow in Harlow.
So a lot of things, it looks like one episode.
Oh yeah, I'm just looking at the movies. Yeah, she was
Yeah.
in Man from U.N.C.L.E., Virginian, Big Valley, Manic,
The Stripper.
Mhm.
Yep. Yeah, no, she's cool.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
Oh, it's my turn, right. Stop looking at Carol Lindley and get on with it.
You're all right. She's pretty.
Okay. I actually half expected Liz to do what I ended up kind of inadvertently doing with Margot. I expect her to go with one of Charlie's Angels, because that's what I did. I picked Kate Jackson for this one because I think of the three of them, I mean, it was a huge show at the time, and so it's an easy slam dunk to go with one of them. And I think of the three of them, Kate Jackson is the one who is probably best suited to for Margot.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'd agree. I almost picked a brunette for this too.
And she's kind of over the years appeared as both blonde and brunette, so I didn't figure it would matter much.
Right. That's okay, because I picked the brunette, so it's all right.
Sweet.
Cool.
Okay. Les?
I looked at it and I went with Anne Gillian.
Ooh.
Oh yeah, cool.
Yeah.
I enjoyed her on It's a Living TV series, and to me, she always had a mouth that would either get her in trouble or save her.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, I did meet her in New York City once.
Oh, that's kind
New
of awesome.
York City. Yeah. Yeah, it is awesome. Very cool.
She used to be one of my favorites.
Okay. For me, I picked someone. I guess I was heavily influenced by one particular film, but I've seen her in other films and in TV shows. So I think she's maybe underappreciated, but I like her a lot. Michelle Carey. And the film I'm thinking of is El Dorado.
Okay. She's pretty too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, cool.
Oh yeah, she played the daughter of the farmer, right?
Yes, the tomboy, the one who shot John Wayne. Yep.
Good choice.
She was in an Elvis movie.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Alrighty, next.
All right. Next up, we have Harry Vincent. I don't know. I'm looking at this name now, and I'm not sure why I picked it. But I went...
Because it's next on the list.
Right. I went with Brian Marshall.
This is going to be one of those nights where we're all looking shit up.
Mm-hmm.
I had his pulled up. Hang on. Yeah, because there was a show that he was on. God. This is why I hate doing this on paper.
Okay, he's not the soundtrack director for WWE, is he?
No.
Okay.
The British guy?
No, he was in... Hang on. My tab's not loading.
The Crankles Electronic Comics?
No. Maybe. But there was one movie that, when I was looking at all the different TV shows, that's what I'm saying. I'm not sure why I picked this one now.
The man only has 7, what I see is only 7 movies or television shows.
Oh, no, there's a bunch of stuff. Oh,
Yeah.
well, we may be looking at different people.
Yeah.
Guy I'm looking
Must
at
be.
was in The Spy Who Loved Me. He was one of the officers, one of the British officers.
Mm-hmm.
He was also, ironically, he was in Quatermass in the Pit, which is the third Quatermass movie that I couldn't remember the name of a little while ago.
Same. I don't know. I think I don't know. I don't know how I did this one. So I said there was a TV show I was looking at, and it was like, oh yeah, I remember him. And now I'm looking at it, and it's like, I don't remember. Maybe I picked the wrong guy from the show I was looking at, but he should be listed in that too. But now I'm giving my secrets away on how I do this.
So far, you're not describing anything different than I do. So
Okay.
how else are we going to know who was in these time frames? I mean,
Yeah.
you kind of have to go back to the TV shows that were the movies and TV shows from that era.
See, and normally when I do this on my computer, I bookmark the page. And I didn't do that this time.
And this was Brian who?
Marshall?
Brian with an I or Brian with a Y?
With a Y.
Okay.
Because I don't see the show now that I even...
I typed it in with an I and initially came up with a musician, and so I'm like, no, that can't be right.
Yeah. And I checked Quatermass Experiment. Was he in 1 or 2, Mike?
He was in the third one.
Ah, okay.
He was in Quatermass in the Pit, which you might have to look up as 5 Million Years to Earth, because they loved renaming movies apparently back then.
See, I would have been looking around 78.
Which was a good thing to do.
Yeah,
Right.
and I don't see the show that I saw. I'm sorry on that one.
That's all right.
It's fine. No big deal.
Boom, 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 boom.
It is out.
So for Harry Vincent, I decided to go with a guy who we've talked about him. Several of us have cast him in other things before because honestly, he's good. He's not your traditional looking Hollywood actor type, but that's okay. For a TV show like this, that's probably what you need a lot of the time, especially given that he's the guy who the Shadow saved once, and so he's just been fiercely loyal to him ever since. I've picked Michael Pollard.
Okay.
Okay.
Just kind of an everyman type guy.
True.
Very cool.
That is
I'm
cool.
going on record with Matt Frewer, who was Max Headroom.
Yep.
Ah,
Cool. He's pretty good too.
he is.
Yeah, he did that television series about the doctor, too. It was awfully good.
Cool.
Well, I went with someone. He would have to lose the mustache, which he would not do it now because that's part of him. That's part of him now. But he's one of these guys that we all love, and we've cast him in our casting calls before. Sam Elliott.
Ooh,
Oh man.
he's good in anything he does.
Sounds like you might have an objection to that comment.
Kind of.
He's good in almost everything he does.
And I was like,
Oh.
oh my god. What's that?
He's good in a lot of stuff.
True.
Oh, he's going to be in season 2 of The Landman. That should be really good.
Somehow not surprised, but okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's worked on quite a few Taylor Sheridan projects.
I wonder why.
That's why I'm not surprised.
Mm-hmm. This one kind of surprised me because it's not a Western. I guess it's a modern Western, though, huh?
Yeah, I mean, maybe a little. I bet it's got some flavor in it. Some
Yeah,
Western
I mean,
flavor.
it is Texan, so
There you go.
does get to play a cowboy more than... He better play a cowboy, or I'll be like, what the fuck?
Wow.
Ouch.
You missed... I mean, that's what he's known as, you know.
Oh, it'd be hilarious to see him play like an accountant.
Or,
That would
wouldn't
be
it?
great.
Or a lawyer. One
Right.
of them city slicker lawyers.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
I don't know if I've said this to you guys. I'm pretty sure I hadn't said this on the podcast. But as much of a fan I am of Harrison Ford, I really wish they had brought Sam Elliott back to play Ross for Captain America 4.
Yeah.
Since he originally played him in the first one with
Bana.
Yeah, Eric Bana.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
that's pretty cool.
And I recall him being a highlight of that movie.
Yes, he was. He was.
I haven't seen it in a while, but I remember
Yeah.
He was good.
him as Thunderbolt Ross worked.
So. Oh well.
Pretty cool.
Yep.
I like that one.
Okay. All right. Next.
Oh, never mind. I thought that was less big. All right.
No, that was my pick.
The next one we have is Burbank. And I went with Dirk Benedict. I do know who he is. He's Lieutenant Starbody.
Okay.
Face.
Yeah. Face. There's an irony here, but we'll get to that.
Yes, that's
Yes,
true.
he was Face on the A-Team. And yeah, I'm down with this. I think he's a good choice. I went a very different direction because he's like the communications guy.
Yeah.
So I mean, again, admittedly, probably slightly biased by my earlier reference to Charlie's Angels. I thought, well, if he's the communications guy, then maybe we only ever hear him over the radio. We never see his face.
Mm-hmm.
Never see his face. So I was like, okay, so I'm casting voice acting again. who did a lot of the voice acting in the 70s for like superhero stuff. I picked Ted Knight.
There you go.
Okay.
Interesting. Yeah,
Yep.
Yeah.
I can see that happening.
I didn't think about him as a voice.
It just was, I don't know, my brain
Yeah.
did. I'm already thinking illusionary type stuff, and so I'm like, oh well, if he's the calm guy.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He would be a good voice too.
Yep. He was. Yep.
He was. Yeah.
Meanwhile,
All right.
at the Hall of Justice.
That's right. Okay, Les.
I look at this and you think about a voice or somebody playing the part. Playing the part, I want to take Peter Boyle. But for the voice, I would take Orson Welles.
Ooh.
Oh. Yeah.
Man, you're dipping into both versions of this, old versions and new versions of this for this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because Boyle did play.
He played Mo
He played Mo.
in the '94 Alec Baldwin movie, yeah.
Yeah.
And Wells famously was the voice of the Shadow for a while at the very beginning
Yeah. That's true.
on the radio.
On the radio. Whoa.
Wow, there's a deep cut.
That's a deep cut, yes. Okay, for my pick, yeah, I went with a voice actor. I mean, he's done regular acting too, but most people would recognize the voices he's done, but would never know the name or the face. We do. Paul Frees.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Totally.
Okay. He voiced my childhood.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Dang. Yeah, he did.
Yep.
That's a good one.
Sold.
Yep. He was like a steady for Rankin and Bass.
Mm-hmm. Did a bunch for a bunch of
Is
different...
it Bass or Bass?
It's Bass.
Bass.
Okay.
All about the bass. Yeah.
English is tricky.
It is.
Okay, next.
All right. Next guy on our list is Mo. I can't pronounce his last name.
Shrevitz.
Shrevitz? Okay. I went with another famous taxi driver in 78, and I went
Judd
with...
Hirsch.
Yes, I did.
I was about to say, Danny DeVito?
No, he never went outside the office.
They'd
So.
kill him if he got out of the cage.
Still, I know.
Yep, I went with Judd Hirsch.
Okay.
Can see that. And actually, I could see him doing this role, honestly.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I went a slightly different direction again.
No.
I know, it's hard to believe, right?
Who'd have thunk it?
I did stay in the sitcom realm here, but I went with a slightly different. I went with maybe a slightly more modern version of Mo. And I actually his was not the first name I came up with, but the way I got to him was a little weird, and I'm a little afraid to share that in public. But I chose Tim Reed.
Okay.
Okay.
Venus Flytrap.
He was Venus Flytrap on WKRP in Cincinnati.
Cool.
I think he could do the cab driver thing perfectly well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree.
And he's a funny dude, so there you go.
Yeah. Good choice.
Yep. I like
That's
that.
a good choice.
I went with Brian Dennehy.
Ooh, wow.
Nice.
Cool.
Yeah.
High powered.
Because I wanted somebody that's a little bit tougher than most of the actors I looked at. And I thought he would be a good fit with being in the two FX movies.
Mm-hmm.
I love those two movies. And I thought
I don't remember if I
this would
saw
be
the second one. The first
I've
one was
never seen
great.
the second. Yeah, I've never seen the
I
second.
don't think I ever saw the second one.
Take the time and watch it. I'm sure it's on Tubi or something like that.
Probably.
Yeah.
It's really good, and it's a lot more activity between the two antagonists, or protagonists, I should say, with Dennehy and Brian
Brown. Yeah, the Australian guy.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. But yeah, Brian Dennehy's, again,
Wow.
kind of a no-brainer.
Brian Brown. That's not a name I have thought of in a long time.
Hmm.
Wow. I didn't go for the tough action guy. I'll just go ahead and say it. I went with G.W. Bailey.
Okay.
Cool.
Cool.
Private. What was he? Private what in MASH?
MASH. He was
He
a
was-
sergeant, wasn't he?
Oh God.
No,
Oh,
corporal. He was corporal.
I'm blanking right now.
Shit, what was his name? Yeah, he was the motor pool guy.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
See, I remember him most from Police Academy.
Yeah, and
Oh,
he was.
Police Academy,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then the closer in
Yeah, more recently.
Major Crimes. Yeah, more recently.
Mhm.
God, my mom loved
Cool.
him in that show. So,
Yep, he's good.
He is.
I
Well, he's
agree.
He's a Texas boy too.
He is.
Ah, I did not know that.
Alrighty, next.
Okay, now we get into our villains, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And the first one we have, which I know I'm going to butcher, I almost called him Shaka Khan, but
Casting Shaka Khan as Shiwan Khan would be
Interesting.
very
very
interesting.
interesting. Well, I didn't know in '78 who to cast in this, and of course, my mind first went to Bruce Lee, but he wouldn't play a villain, so instead I went with Bruce Lee. Which is L-E instead of L-E-E.
As so many other Hong Kong films did.
Yep.
But anyway, yeah. No, that's cool.
Yep. He's badass for sure.
Right.
I grew up watching him on Saturdays, you know.
Yeah.
Because he was during, what did they call that time period? The Lee Demonian or Lee Pandemonium or something like that. Yeah.
You grew up somewhere different than the rest of us.
Oh.
Ain't that the truth?
Not sure what planet that was, but anyway.
But it was during probably from 70 to 80 when Bruce Lee was making all of those movies that they played on Saturdays. Enter the Dragon. God. What was the fifth one?
I
Yeah.
joke, but even where I was in the late 70s, which was not here, Saturday afternoon there was a martial arts cinema.
It's like Kung
show
Fu
thing.
Theater or
Yeah,
something.
I mean, they all had
Yeah.
different names. Every station that did it had a different name for it. But yeah, it was the same concept. They would show kung fu movies on Saturdays.
Oh, Grasshopper.
That was the
That was
TV show
Carradine, though.
Kung
Yeah.
Fu, and yeah, that was not an Asian guy doing that. But
No.
anyway,
That was what David Carradine was
Yes.
the Grasshopper.
it was.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
So this was another one, since this was Shiwan Khan, and he had similar abilities to the Shadow. I went with some of the illusion thing again. So I've got two castings basically. And I kind of thought about this in terms of like the first season, you have Khan as kind of the main bad guy. And the guy you'd see playing Khan up until the last episode of the season is Richard Narita. If you're not familiar with the name, Richard Narita was in Murder by Death. He was the number one son.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look him up.
Yeah, that's fine. Young, fairly large Asian guy. I'm sure he's a perfectly good actor. I haven't seen him in much other than Murder by Death, but he's fun in that movie. But then when you basically get to the unveiling that is inevitable when Khan is defeated in this case, you would get to see the real Khan, and that would be played by Victor Wong.
Okay.
All right.
A less impressive physical specimen, to say the least, but still a pretty good actor. So
Yep.
it would be fun to see him doing something like this.
Makes sense to me.
Yep.
Okay, Les.
I went with a non-Asian actor, but he made a name for himself by playing an Asian.
David Carradine.
No.
I'm just going
Joseph-
at him.
Joseph Wiseman. Joseph Wiseman played Dr. No.
No wonder why that name
yes.
sounded familiar. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I like it.
Yeah, that'll work.
Mm-hmm.
It's an interesting way to go about it, but it'll work. Because he did other stuff, and he was pretty good.
Yeah.
Then Buck Rogers. Beep. You can't not do that when you say Buck Rogers.
I can easily not do that when I say Buck Rogers, but I'm fine with you doing it.
But we'd rather you didn't again.
Well, no, whatever, it's fine.
I'll say it one more time because it's fun.
That was Mel Blanc, man. I'll take it.
That's true.
Yep.
Well, I'm sure Les and Mike will appreciate my choice. I went with Evan C. Kim. And all I have to say is a fistful of yen.
Liz watched it.
Yeah,
I
but
think. I don't know if she got that far into it, but
Yeah, I don't know if I remember him in that one.
he was in Kentucky Fried Movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah.
And Deadpool.
That guy was
Yeah.
good.
yeah, he was in the Deadpool. He was Eastwood's partner.
Really?
Yes.
Interesting. Yeah,
He looks like he's played in a lot of fun movies.
yeah.
And Dirty Harry, huh?
Yeah, he's played some fun movies, and he's
Dirty-
also was in Caveman.
Dirty Harry was a fun movie. What are you talking about?
It was. Go ahead, punk. Make my day.
You want to make Dirty Harry a fun movie? Watch it from the perspective of Andy Robinson.
That's true. That is very true.
That dude is fucking brilliant in that movie. Anyway, gotten off topic there. Yeah, Evan Kim. Cool.
Yeah, I like that.
That'd be interesting.
Uh-huh.
All right.
Okay, and the last one on our list is Benedict Stark. I almost went with I I don't know if I can say his last name, Herv Belochese.
Chase.
Yeah, because
Okay.
other than Fantasy Island, he did play bad guys,
He
But
did.
instead, I stayed on the Asian route, and I went with the badass that was in most of those films, and he was Lo Li, Lieh. So I thought him and Bruce Lee could antagonize the Shadow together.
Okay, it wouldn't have occurred to me to choose another Asian guy for Benedict Stark, but okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
That's cool.
Yeah.
It'd be fun.
I'm not too versed in the Shadow world. So.
No,
No, it's all right.
right.
It's not a problem.
It happens.
The Herv would have fit better.
Maybe check out our picks for this and judge on your own.
Okay. The Shadow, boss. The Shadow.
No, we're not gonna. I'm not casting knick-knack for this. So yeah, so for Benedict Stark, I went for a more traditional than that idea of a supervillain. And I almost was kind of thinking Kingpin like in demeanor.
Yeah.
Not that I chose anybody related to Kingpin, but that's kind of more the idea I had for Stark.
What he
Was
looked like.
kind of a wealthy, power-hungry type guy. I picked Ken Howard.
Ooh. Okay.
That's good. I like that.
Just seemed like he could do kind of play both sides. He could be a good guy. He could be a bad guy.
True. I like that.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I'm glad you included him. That was one that I had thought of, but I wasn't sure which position I would fill with him. I like that.
Okay, Les?
I went with a guy that was on TV for many seasons. I went with a guy that just had the look, had the demeanor, and that was Jack Lord from Hawaii Five-0.
Okay.
Man, somebody's been watching Dr. No lately. Jeez.
Yeah. Not that he was complaining, but yeah.
Yeah, not at all. No, that's cool.
I like that choice too. Yeah.
I like it.
I was kind of thinking the same thing you were thinking, Mike. So I picked man who was he was everywhere in the 70s. Michael York.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. He did some bad guy roles too.
Yes.
In addition to D'Artagnan.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Very nice.
Okay. I know there was other agents for the Shadow that I did not put on the list. Did anybody do any other casting?
I did not.
Yeah, that's okay if you did.
I did.
I kind of figured you did. Go ahead, Les.
Okay.
That's what I was basically trying to set it up for you.
Okay, you'll see a theme through this now. Benedict Stark, Andy Kaufman, Sherwin Khan, James Hong.
I thought about him, but I decided that was too easy.
It was. Mo Shrevnitz, Tony Danza. Burbank, David Spade. Harry Vincent, Stephen Root. Margot Lane was Mary Lou Henner, I'm sorry. And who would be the shadow from that group?
Oh,
Andy
definitely
Kaufman.
Danny DeVito.
No. Christopher Lloyd.
Please tell me he's going to do it as Reverend Jim.
Oh, it have to be.
Okie doke.
Oh, good old.
Yep, that's what I had, just for fun.
Nice. In case we needed a comedy.
Well, that was fun.
I enjoyed it.
Heck yeah.
I enjoyed that.
Now I want to watch the show.
Mm.
I want to watch all different versions of that show. So, oh well. Alrighty. On that note, we are going to take another break, and then we will be back with Geek News for You. And we're back, and it's time for Geek News for You. In this segment, we bring a couple news items to the table for discussion. This week, it is Liz and myself. And Liz, would you go first, please?
Okay. I kind of had to switch gears because originally I was going to talk about the diamond auction that happened today. They broke it down into, I think, 11 pieces and auctioning it off. That didn't happen today. It's going to trickle over into tomorrow. So we still don't know who all put bids on this, which is what's got me curious. So instead, I'm going to bring a sad piece of news to the table. I think everybody can go back to their first love of cartoons, and somewhere in that Looney Tunes is involved. For me, it kind of set the pace of what cartoons should be. You know, they can be funny, they can be crude, they can be rude, you know, just totally off the wall, and that was funny. Definitely a big footstep in the animation world. Some of the greats worked on these. Well, it seems to be that Warner Brothers doesn't feel the same way I do. They slowly but surely have been taking Looney Tunes off the air. Before you could turn on Boomerang, and sometime during the day you were going to see a Bugs Bunny cartoon. I think now they broke it down to where it's only on the weekends that Looney Tunes plays, which is crazy. Then, secretly, quietly, they sent out an email, and, you know, I always scan over the emails to see what's leaving HBO and what's staying, because everything was put over on Max, or whatever they're calling it now, and they had on there that they were going to remove the Looney Tunes. And, of course, that created a big upset, because you've already removed it from TV. You know, you've already canned a movie that was completely made for a tax write-off. They all but shit on the one that's in the theaters right now, wanted nothing to do with it. I think, what was it, Catch Up Entertainment's had to pick up the torch. Totally distanced themselves. Well, they said, no, we're not doing that. We're not going to do that. Well, quietly over the weekend, they did that. Over 250 Looney Tune cartoons just went missing. And what's his name? Slav, whatever the head of Warner Brothers is, he's kind of proven he just has something against the Looney Tunes. You know, some kind of axe to grind. Maybe they weren't as funny to him as they were to me. I don't know. But he pretty much has said that they're not bringing it back. It's gone pretty much, oh well. Well, I had read that an article that Tubi was going to pick them up. And now it also looks like, what is their names? MeTV. I think it's MeTV is now going to buy part of it so they can kind of keep it going. But it's to me, I find it really sad. Now, like I said, Looney Tunes just isn't a cartoon. It was kind of a history book for some of these newer guys. It was kind of this is kind of the basis of the cartoons. I mean, Tex Avery and the Wolf Eyes and the voices and everything else. You could pretty much write a book off of what these guys did at Merry Melodies and
people have.
And just to have that disappear. I mean, sure, people like me, I have it all on DVD, but it's
so do I.
It's sad for the younger kids that now that's not going to be an influence for them. Instead, we have these dumbed down cartoons, is what I call them. That's kind of they either are too young or too old for your kids. They haven't seemed to catch that middle pretty well, like Looney Tunes did. So I don't know. I'd like to know what they're thinking on this one, But I had also heard that although Coyote versus Acme was shelved, they're talking about now of selling that out. And it looks like either, was it Netflix or someone else was thinking about picking that one back up. And I know the movie's not doing too well in the theaters right now. For one thing, it's animation. Unless you've got Disney or Pixar behind it, they usually don't do too well. But there's been no marketing for this movie. Absolutely
I didn't
none.
know it was
of course,
in the theater.
I didn't know either.
This is the first I've heard this.
Yeah, of course, Warner Brothers was like, we ain't doing it. We ain't spending no more money on Looney Tunes. And Ketchup is kind of, they're not tiny, but they're not a real big company either. So I don't think they had the money to market this movie the way it should have been. The people who are going to see it absolutely love it, So I don't know. It's just kind of sad. And then you think of all the crap that they did with Looney Tunes that was crap. Space Jam, I'm looking at you. But from what all the trailers and stuff I've seen, the day the Earth blew up looks like it's strictly animation. There's no real people mixed into this. It kind of goes back to its roots of what it was. So if you haven't seen it, go see it. But like I said, I really like to see what Warner Brothers is going to do with this, because that's a really big property just to, I can't believe there's no more money in Bugs Bunny. No money in the bunny. That seems to be it. There's just no love given to him. But if they're going to erase this and delete it, I would definitely tell people to go buy the DVD. They're classics. Some of them, although they've said are offensive now, to me they're timeless. I never got offended over a cartoon. I guess my panties don't wad that hard.
And she thanks you for that. We all thank you for that visual.
Yeah, I'm hoping that they stay on Tubi, because Tubi is free and access to everyone. So, but all of that was probably about 4 articles, so I'll probably only post one that sums this up for you guys. Because, like I said, it has made quite a wave, because that's a property that's been around for a long time, Hasn't really died out. That's kind of crazy.
And what was the name of the movie they were putting out?
The movie at the theater right now is called The Day the Earth Blew Up, a Looney Tunes movie.
I've seen that advertised on YouTube, and it did interest me.
To me, it reminds me of classic Porky and Daffy together, and Like I said, one of the clips I saw, they had the guy standing up in front of the screen talking. It's like, I remember when they did that. That was funny stuff, you know.
Yeah.
The audience member. So I think I feel bad because I think Ketchup tried to keep this, you know, didn't want it shelved the way that the Coyote and Acme one is. And I don't know, whoever buys that one, now with all the fuss made around that movie, it better be good. I mean, it better be really, really, really good, you know.
Well, I can see why they would want to get out of that part of the business, because they've forced us to watch a remake of the basketball movie.
Oh, right.
Space Jam.
Space Jam.
Yeah. Which
Yeah,
wasn't really that great the first time around.
It definitely wasn't the second time. It didn't matter if it was Jordan or someone else. It was pitiful.
I think they tried to do a Roger Rabbit and fell really, really short. Really, really short.
Yeah, I was wondering which one came first. I wasn't sure.
It's hard to blend real with cartoon, though. I you know, not to completely get off topic, but I think that's why Roger Rabbit was such a hit, is because they did it so seamlessly. I mean,
Yes.
it didn't look like he was talking to the air the way that Space Jam did sometimes. Sometimes you could really tell that they didn't even have anybody standing in for the cartoon part, you know? So, yeah, not that great. And honestly, most kids aren't into sport like that. You know, that was an adult problem. Why would kids care about that? You know? Ooh, Michael Jordan's going to lose his basketball thing. Who cares? You know? Yeah. But yeah, I agree. I think he's just mad because people ain't watching the new Looney Tune crap that he's putting out. They have that Looney Tune Builders now, the new kids cartoon. Mm-hmm. That's bad. If your kid is not that smart, they might learn something, but it's totally babied down. I don't know what age group they're going for, because the age group that is made for is not watching TV. So, as Leanne would say, bleh. I don't know. I hope it's put in good hands, because it's not in Warner Brothers. They've lost sight of that property.
Well, that's a bummer.
It is.
Okay. For my news item, DC recently announced that they are starting up a weekly Batman scripted podcast series.
Really?
Entitled DC High Volume Batman. April 2nd will see first 2 installments of Batman Year One, adapting the Frank Miller and Dave Mazzucchelli's miniseries.
Okay.
So the first 4 episodes will be doing Year One, and then it will move into a new storyline after that. It sounds like, but it's not been confirmed, that that may be the long Halloween.
Okay. Good choice.
Mm-hmm. So this will be available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and other podcast areas, and it will also be available on their YouTube channel starting April 2nd.
Cool.
Look forward to that.
Yeah,
Could be fun.
could be pretty cool. I know. There's been a couple other. I think there was like a Wolverine story that was adapted into a podcast, like a radioization podcast. So this could be started something pretty cool, like the old radio programs.
Mm-hmm.
I had listened to one that my niece suggested to me. I think it was Harlequin, but it was like a weekly podcast that they did too.
Okay. Cool.
Radio dramas are coming back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Nice. Well, I mean, they're not that far. They're not that far off from. Well, I was about to say it was not far off from the audiobooks, but the audiobooks were usually just a narrator, someone just reading the book. So it's not necessarily the same. But,
Right.
so. Alrighty. Any special shout-outs for mentions this week?
Not me.
No.
Nothing here.
Okay. We'll go ahead and move on to our regular shout-outs. Want to thank Pop Goes the Culture for allowing us to be part of a great little podcast network. Definitely check out the other shows there. There will be a link in our show notes. We also want you to check out the fine men and women who spread the word of the fellowship on Twitter/X by retweeting our links, and that is Potter and Family. The best way to check them out is to just do a search, #Potter and Family. Scroll through whatever catches your eye. By all means, click on that link and download the episode. We hope you have a great time listening to them. Want to thank Manny the Martyr for supplying the music to the podcast. In our show notes, you can be able to check out some of their other music. And finally, you, dear listener, thank you for downloading and listening to today's episode. We value your feedback. You can send it several different ways. We have an email address at email@thefellowshipofthegeeks.net. Or you can go to the website, go to the About Us page, and there's a contact form that you can fill out right there. I think I mentioned earlier, we do have a Discord that you feel free to join. Sign up is free. The app is free in the app stores. We do have open invitation on our homepage. We post a lot of news items, stuff for discussion, stuff to laugh at, just other stuff to check out, and we do some activities on the Discord as well. So if you want to come hang out with us, by all means, do so today. Social media, we're on Facebook, The Fellowship of the Geeks. On Instagram, Twitter or X, and Bluesky, we're at Fellowship Geeks. If you like to follow our personal Twitter accounts, Mike can be found at Mikey Geek. Liz can be found at LN_Geek. Les may or may not be found at Fake Les Webster. And I can be found at Tom TC Geek. And from wherever you download our episodes, if you'd be so kind as to rate and review the show, it would be greatly appreciated. Anything else before we say goodbye?
Just thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, and send in your list for those characters, too.
Yep.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah, that would be interesting. Thank you for listening, everybody. We appreciate the support as always. And until next time, geek on, my friends.
We thank you for listening to the show. Comments, suggestions, and questions can be sent to email@thefellowshipofthegeeks.net. You can follow us on Facebook at The Fellowship of the Geeks and on Twitter at Fellowship Geeks. Until next time,